Right. So hello friends, good evening. So we will be having the discussion of polity mains answer writing. So we have completed almost 3 sessions based on this, and today we will be having the fourth session relating to this area. So all the issues pertaining to the concept of mains answer writing we will discuss here. So in this topic, I think in the last question, what we saw was based on this constitutional morality. This question I introduced, I spoke about the answer, and we even had discussion on how to write the conclusion. These are the areas we discussed. Now, additionally speaking, we will have the next question to be answered in the examination and how to proceed for answer writing in general. So these inputs we will be dealing one by one in case of our present class, and plus also we will be having other inputs also to be dealt in a more clear manner, right? So just a second, the video is coming on the left hand side. Just give me 1 minute of time. I'll work on this. 1 minute. Right. So I think now it is clear. Is there any comment to just send a message in the chat itself? I'll give reply to you accordingly. And I hope that distance what was there earlier now it got resolved for those who are watching in YouTube. Yes, yes, yes. Right. Good. So I think now it has become normal. 1 second. Yes. Okay, good. So now the visibility settings all are perfect. So previous class, yesterday we had discussion about other things. Constitutional morality was the last question what we discussed, and now we can see the other questions as such. See, one more fact which I just want to share with you. These classes are being taught to you, are being enlightened with just a single motto that you might have great number of knowledge, great amount of information, but those needs to be converted into answer. That is the main area, right? So the main purpose of this class is to fine tune you. I told you already, mains answer writing is an art. So art per se demands some amount of perfection which demands a great amount of time. For example, what we write as an answer today, if I compare that with the answer which I write on the 21st day after my learning, I will have a huge amount of gap between what I wrote initially and what I am writing right now. So there are great possibilities in this perspective. That area, please just remember. And one more thing, the answers, whatever we are telling to you, then and there just make a noting. And please ensure that these answers are being known to you with good amount of clarity. Don't have any amount of like ambiguity and all. Each and every answer do have a noting just to see how it is happening. Then we can proceed for the element of mains answer writing in this year very comfortably, or even in the upcoming year of your UPSC exam. So one information is pretty well clear. That is, whenever we are doing the task of answer writing, the structure what we are giving to you should get inculcated. Do not as such have any amount of doubt. Have that area in your mind regularly. And this WhatsApp chat is also live and open. So if at all you want to make any amount of changes, you are always free to do that. There is no amount of restriction. Any chat you give, I'll give the reply to you accordingly. Right, with these input, let's begin the class as such. To what extent, in your view, the parliament is able to ensure accountability of the executive in case of India? This is a question they have asked in the UPSC mains examination. So here, you just have a look on the question. They are asking, to what extent, in your view, right? Right. So here, the question is, to what extent in your view, the Parliament of India is able to ensure accountability of the executive. One second. Right. Accountability of executive in case of India. This is the question as such being asked in this exam. So to what extent this is having a great deal, and why this is again creating a rupture. So we need to be very precise on answering this question, and they are giving us some liberty because they are asking, to what extent in your view the parliament is able to ensure the accountability of the executive. Executive and the parliamentary system. I think we are very clear on this area. Until we have clarity on that topic, answering this question will become a Herculean task. So be very specific. In case of India, the government system is again subjected to parliamentary form of government. So we don't follow the method how they are doing in case of England. So our method is called as parliamentary form of government. The other method what they follow is subjected to presidential system of government. So totally speaking, though we inspired many things as such from Western nation, this area of presidential nature of government was not something which we preferred. So we thought this method will not work out. So we have gone for the parliamentary platform and parliamentary way of administration. So here there is an exact amount of division between the so-called two members. One, the executive, other, the legislative. So executive, legislature, there is a difference. So each of them are having their own domain to function, and they cannot just like that interfere in each other's domain. Even many a time we have seen, when you ask something from judiciary as a relief, they will give the answer that no, this is a matter of policy decision. We are not supposed to interfere. Government will take care of this issue. This is what even the element of government and the judiciary are having as a limitation to each other. In that perspective, Parliament is the place where law is made. Number two, executives are those people. Let's take the president, then you are having prime minister, then council of ministers, all those individuals, whoever make law within the house of the parliament are considered to be executive. And now the question is very simple. How executive are being subjected to accountability? Sir, why accountability is needed? That may be a striking topic also. Please remember, only when they bring accountability, issues will be having a perfection. If you do not have accountability, you will not have any amount of fear for anyone. By default, you may be subjected to deviation. So now we know pretty well what is the demand of the question. See, you see how I am decoding the question. When I see a question, I don't just read the question and go for the answer. What I am telling, to see the question from this perspective, you just see whether they are asking from constitution or they are asking any particular law or any act as such they are demanding, or they are asking specifically the functions of constitutional body, or they are asking, come on, tell me in your perspective what is the answer. We may have various inputs also, right? For a given topic we can have various input. In this area, be precise on the demand of the question. What they are demanding, try to give the answer for that, so that you will have the comfort to give exact answer and not any answer whatever you like as such. So keeping those things in mind, let's begin for the areas of answer writing and how to proceed for the answer writing in general. So in this topic, the answer how you will give. Initially speaking, the question is asking you to salute the parliamentary government, right? So we cannot just like that jump into the answer without giving the input on parliamentary government. So we will start giving the area. So here the issue is that, simply speaking, the content on this topic needs to be clearly understood. What do you mean by parliamentary government? So in this area, the aspect is the parliamentary form of government is considered to be a type of government which is giving us the value, which is installing the value of separation of power between entities. So government of India, legislature, executive, both of them are getting separated, and this is the bedrock formula for parliamentary form of government, and they are being subjected to a large amount of impact. So parliamentary form of government is a type of government in which executive and legislative functions are being divided and each are being assigned their own domain to function. That is the very simplest thing, and India is a classical example of how we are having a parliamentary form of government. This, if you are able to understand, then obviously speaking, your answer will find a finite amount of reply to the question which has been said by the examiner. Because you understood what is parliamentary government, you are just telling that in the first line, and that is enough to move forward. So now what do you mean by parliamentary government is really awesome, because we are giving the input in that area and that will make us feel highly comfortable. Now, body of the question, that is a very core topic, right? Just like that, we can't start writing only about the plus point of parliamentary government. If we do so, we are again making a fundamental mistake here. Don't do that. When the question is being asked, always please ensure that you are giving a proper amount of reply to that. Limit it, because I told you where how much we have to give, that we should know. If we start giving the supply blindly without having the idea of how to present, how not to present, your answer will go wrong. So when a question is based on this parliamentary form of government, just see the question in to what extent, in your view, parliament is able to ensure accountability of executive in India. For that, if you write the salient features of parliamentary form of government, your answer is wrong. Your answer will go definitely wrong, and here the aspect is as if the content are being asked in a perspective in which parliamentary procedure or parliamentary form of government features shouldn't come and have an upper hand in this area. If you do like that, then obviously your answer is wrong. So be very specific in this topic. Number 2. Now they are asking the question relating to accountability. How and all accountability is getting ensured? Sir, what do you mean by accountability? Accountability per se is, if any member is working, we need to have checks and balances, right? So we cannot just like that give the permission. So we need something called as checks and balances. Checks and balances are very much required in case of every types of government. So what do you mean by checks and balances here? If at all some function is happening, if at all they are doing some work that needs to be counter checked by some other person, because when you have this idea, no, like absolute authority must be given, then absolute authority will tend to corrupt you absolutely. So we cannot make one person have all the power and no amount of accountability will be there. So in this matter we need to understand what are the core areas to be as such proceeded, how to bring accountability. For that we can better go by side heading. So this method is always appreciable. So the people who go for this valuation, they in turn tell that when the answer is appearing in terms of all these side heading as such, that will give a great amount of happiness in evaluation, because point by point by point you give all the inputs, that gives a high amount of comfort. In this area, committees of parliament, first thing to be addressed. What are the parliamentary committees? We have estimate committee, then we have public accounts committee, and we have various standing committees as such. All these committees, so all committees put together will ensure that the work is happening as per the principles of constitution. An executive cannot just do the work how he likes. He need to perform the work in a fashion wherein which that work is being subjected to rules of constitution. It is not like he work according to his whims and fancies. That is where we proceed in this area. And number two, in this topic we need to be more clear. What is the issue? The issue is that parliamentary committees are there. So public accounts committee, estimate committee, and other standing committees of the parliament are being entrusted with the work of checking how the functions of parliament takes place. Thereby parliament is able to have accountability on the work of executive. Full stop. Answer is over for that heading. Yes or no? They have demanded a question and we have given the input. So in this area we are able to address what is the exact demand, and also we have given the solution to the question comfortably. Number two, we need to understand tools used in the parliament. For example, we are having various things: question hour, zero hour, then no confidence motion, censure motion. So we have various types of tools which are being used in the Parliament of India. These tools in turn will ensure that the executives are being questioned. Question hour, zero hour and all, they will be asking blindly all questions to the government. Opposition main tool is using these question hour. At that point of time, many questions will be asked as such. When questions are being continuously asked, when we are able to make a great amount of answering, by default when these ministers come to the parliament, they become accountable. So parliamentary tool is these things: no question hour, zero hour, no confidence motion, all these things. When these are being employed against the ministers, the parliament is able to bring accountability. Whatever they are doing, they need to tell the answer. For example, we have something called as adjournment motion. I hope you know the difference. When you temporarily suspend the house for half an hour, 1 hour, 2 hour, or just a small amount of break for 1 or 2 days, it will be labeled as adjournment. Adjournment motion is something where we need to discuss something of very urgent nature. When we have something to be discussed on very urgent nature, then that needs to be as such spoken by using adjournment motion. For example, terrorism in case of Mumbai. Opposition party will raise the question, then the members are subjected to accountability. Why have you failed in law and order? Why have you failed in securing the borders of the country? So executive is being made accountable by using the tools of the parliament. Then budget. Budget is a finite tool. How the finances are getting subjected to usage, how the money is getting allocated, how the money is getting distributed, and how to as such proceed for the area relating to the aspect of allocation of money, expenditure of money, and subsequently having an eye on how the money is being spent. You can't just like that take the money and spend however we want. We need to have a great amount of clarity in this perspective. And then number 4, we have the procedure called as impeachment. See, please understand friends, the word impeachment per se, we are using for each and everything. But for that matter, we need to be very clear. Impeachment needs to be used only from the perspective of the President of India. For all other persons, impeachment word is not a right constitutional word to be employed as such. Do remember this fact, right? Okay. So, impeachment of President. So, even the highest, first citizen of this nation, the parliament is having something called as a provision called as impeachment. So, if at all President is doing some wrong, if he is not behaving according to the provisions of constitution, then he can be subjected to removal. So, these are some of the examples which we can quote in the mains examination to tell how accountability is getting ensured as such. And then, fifth point, this is a very dynamic point, live streaming. What is happening inside the Parliament of India? If Parliament is able to make live streaming every day, an exclusive channel only for Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha, and they are getting as such, translated into regional languages, all regional languages. And if you highlight that, that is enough to make the executive accountable. Imagine your constituency members are watching what you are doing, and live stream is happening, and they are doing a great amount of observation. If this is happening, then by default that will give a great amount of success. So in this area, the issue relating to the aspect of live streaming is one more dynamic point, which in turn will promote a great amount of possibility for the parliament to ensure that the executives are working as per a good amount of sense. Suggestions for improvement. So what we can do? Many a time, the parliamentary committees who are there, for them the bill needs to be referred. But sometimes speaking, the bill do not get any reference to parliamentary committee. They will scrutinize the bill clause by clause, point by point as such. But those things are not happening. So nowadays it is getting a great amount of disruption. In this area, whenever there is a less amount of bill getting as such referred, we need to be very clear that the bills should definitely undergo parliamentary committee scrutiny. When this is happening, by default, you will get a grand amount of success, and that in turn will bring high amount of accountability. And then act of nature. See, very simple. When the issue of COVID was creating a great amount of trouble to the entire nation, you all should know that roughly speaking, the entire winter session got disrupted. We were not able to do anything, and every day to run the affairs of parliament, we are spending lakhs of rupee, public taxpayers' money. When these money are getting wasted for any amount of act of nature and all, we don't have alternatives. When there is no amount of physical session, other options are not being thrown open. So what is happening? Whether they are working or not, they need to be paid for the element of being a member of parliament. They need to be paid a good amount of pension. So these can be as such altered as if no pay, no work. When there is no amount of work inside the Parliament of India, then definitely payment is not required. And even one more suggestion out of box I'm saying, what you can write is, we can have the principle of performance matrix. The more you perform, the more you will be getting the element of pay structure. This is how they are using in the private. We can go for the usage of performance matrix also in terms of these MPs. What they are doing, how to proceed in this area. If at all there is no performance, you are taking huge amount of leave, continuously getting absent, just coming only to fulfill the legal provisions, 60 days once coming and having the attendance. If you do only like that, for you salary should not be paid. If you work, you will be paid. If you come and sit just like that, do not speak for your constituency or the nation as such. Your particular salary should be reduced. At last, if you are the sole person responsible to disrupt the entire session, then that month's salary or whatever loss the parliament is facing should be deducted from the salaries of MPs as such. If these provisions are coming into picture, definitely speaking, parliament will be the most vibrant house ever India has seen. But right now it is not happening, right? That is again another issue. Right now the Parliament of India is having many amount of deviation. In many instances, we have witnessed the parliament has failed to perform its duty. And many a time, if you see effectiveness of the parliament, it is not even equivalent to 50 percentage. When that is the impact, these suggestions when you write, that will definitely convey the message that you are able to understand the concept in a very clear perspective, and there is no amount of doubt in this. And now we'll just move on to the other area. So just for a kind information, the admission batches as such, I told you till the time of 17th of June, you have this offer. 25% flat discount is there for the batches of GS and optional with Sriram's IAS on the Unacademy platform. And we have this 1 year program also, which commences by the time of 22nd of June. So the mobile number I have given here. So any queries as such, just call the academy and they will do the needful things, whatever is required. Right. Next one, a very important dynamic question, because here I just want to teach many things as such. And even recently in newspaper we saw that Tamil Nadu government has also done something, and that is again creating a good amount of reason to discuss on this topic. Good question asked by UPSC in the mains examination. The jurisdiction of CBI regarding lodging an FIR and conducting probe within a particular state is being questioned by various states. However, the power of state to withhold consent to CBI is not absolute. Explained with special reference to the federal character of India. So question is divided into 3 parts, right? So our style of answering. So the jurisdiction of one authority called as CBI is being questioned, and this is regarding lodging of an FIR. We did not go into FIR, what is 154 section, how they have defined the FIR, what is 156 subclause 3, all those things, legality, that is not required, therefore do not have any amount of insights into that. And here, and conducting the probe, so normally whenever there is any amount of issue, that time these people will come and do the investigation called as probe, and this is being questioned by these states to a large extent. And now they are again giving a message to us. They are telling very affirmatively that the power of the state to withhold the consent to CBI is not absolute. They cannot just like that withhold the power of CBI. They cannot just tell that blanketly, you cannot have your soul being set into the land of a particular state. Like that and all, you can't give instruction. And now they are asking, explain these things with special reference to the federal character of India. This is the question. So 3 layers, am I right? So CBI is having some trouble. States are not giving the permission. Number 2, the power of CBI cannot be stopped completely by any state because there is not an absolute power. Now, how far it is good with respect to the federal character of India? This is what the question is all about. So, now we need to as such discuss about the aspects of CBI and the issue, what is happening, and then proceed for other areas. Before going into this topic, let us speak about 2 things to you in today's session. One is called as general consent and other is called as specific consent. These 2 terms are there, please understand them. So these 2 issues we need to as such proceed forward to have a great amount of idea. General consent means what? Normally every year CBI will be given a general consent by the state. They will say, come on, any case as such is there, we are giving the permission to you, you can come and start the investigation. There is no amount of asking us and all, we have given the permission. If you feel this is of national interest, then definitely speaking you can come and handle the area, no doubt in that. Number 2, there is something called a specific consent. If specific consent is there, then on case by case the state will give the approval. The state will come and tell that yes, you can do this, no, you are not supposed to do this. That is how the consent is getting differed. General consent versus specific consent. And number two, you should know that the entire amount of provisions in India are getting divided into three lists: union list, state list, and concurrent list. And for your kind information, police and law and order will come under state list. Any entry which is mentioned in the state list will be fully taken care by state government. Center cannot come and penetrate their ideologies here. If at all they do that, then that will become a matter of violations of the provisions of constitution. So now state should only take care of law and order problem. State is only having the control towards the policing. But now when the issue is there where CBI wants to come and penetrate, if they feel that it is because of a great amount of national interest, how to proceed for this area? That is where the question begins. So jurisdiction of CBI, how it is going on? Let's begin the answer writing. Number one, CBI and its mandate. If at all you want, you can write so how CBI came into existence. So 1962, 1964 Santanam Committee recommendation as such introduced the body called as CBI. So CBI per se was based on the Santanam Committee report that you write. So CBI is a body which will deal the matters relating to national interest. So any illegal activity which is concerning the entire India will be taken care by CBI. That alone is sufficient. What are the 7 departments working under CBI? What administrative branch will do? What special purpose, special division will do? All those things are not required, right? So now you know pretty well what not to write. I told you Santanam Committee recommended 1964, CBI came into force. It will deal matters pertaining to all India issue or national issues in general. This is enough. This is how intro should be there. Intro should be like, come on, he has said everything. It should not have a feel like, why he is just talking about these things. This was nowhere part of a question. That opinion an examiner or invigilator should never have. The one who is giving mark to should feel that everything is there. That is where the so-called success of an aspirant will happen in the mains exam. Now we wrote about the CBI. Then you should write about Delhi Special Police Establishment Act, which is very essential, and this we can give in the intro itself. Delhi Special Police Establishment Act. So I just had a doubt, why UPSC is asking these things. So when cross-verified, many a time in most of the leading newspapers, this section 6 got highlighted from Delhi Special Police Establishment Act. And CBI derives its power from Delhi Special Police Establishment Act. Here afterwards, I will call it as DSPE Act. DSPE Act is only giving the power to CBI, and DSPE Act section 6 was as such mentioned for n number of times in newspaper. It is not just one time news, it came for great number of times. Therefore, please understand that in this area, we need a large amount of current affair inculcation. I told you, polity paper needs current affair. Definitely all sections in DSPE Act, nobody will remember. Nobody can remember also. But this is coming in newspaper. What are you talking about section 6? When we have a curiosity, one question in the mains exam is ready for you. You will be having the comfortable position to give the answer for this topic. So be very comfortable in these areas. Section 6 says whenever CBI needs to go for the investigation of the state, they have to get the permission. So permission from the state is required. Section 6 is mentioning. In that, 2 types of permission are there, which I discussed it to you when I started this question. A general consent, a specific consent. General consent is you give for whole year. And recently also, I remember, I think in case of West Bengal, a issue happened. The CBI, the officials of CBI, they were not having the awareness relating to renewal. Normally, states will renew the, consent, what they give on every year. And this information was the blind belief what these people also had. After some point of time, they came to a conclusion that renewal was not done by West Bengal government. West Bengal government didn't give the renewal. CBI officials do not know these things. They came for some investigation. And the Honorable West Bengal government under Mamata Banerjee, she gave the orders. CBI doesn't have any power. I didn't give them the permission to come and do all this investigation. Better arrest them. All CBI officials were arrested by state police because you don't have permission to come and do any investigation. Section 6 of the act is saying state permission is required. Did you take my permission? No, I haven't given any permission to you. Then how can you come and touch my state without my knowledge? So it becomes a hot topic. Why CBI is being stopped? You see, when I'm talking that CBI is being stopped by state government, it will definitely raise our eyebrow. We will have a great amount of doubt, how CBI can be stopped. We all thought it is a premier investigating agency for entire India. Suddenly speaking, somebody is coming and saying you don't have a right to come and check my premises. So doubt is arising. That doubt only UPSC is asking as a mains question. Nothing more than that. What doubt comes to you as a common man, the same thing is being tested by UPSC. They are just asking whether UPSC aspirant, dear aspirant, you know the answer or not. So what we are saying, what is CBI? Premier Investigating Agency, national crimes they are investigating, and even when a crime is involving more than 2 or 3 states also, they'll come into investigation, and this was based on Santanam Committee recommendation, and by default as per section 6 of Delhi Special Police Establishment Act 1946, CBI needs the state permission. This is the interaction. Now tell me, we are very clear now, we haven't made any amount of ambiguity. All our statements were very precise and perfect, and we have given an ideal area in this topic. Now main body. Why withdrawal is not absolute? Initial time we have spoken on many parameters. Why withdrawal is not absolute? That is the content here. Sometimes speaking, the word absolute doesn't apply to India. What is absolute? Something where nobody can come and question you. Nobody. If anybody wants to question you, they will be in soup. To that extent, authority, if it is there, it is called as absolute. I taught you there are like fundamental rights in case of India. In that, if you have a deep look on all the fundamental rights, for your information, Article 17 and Article 24, these are the only article which speaks about absolute fundamental right. Abolition of untouchability, absolute. Nobody is given the permission to practice untouchability. Very good. Article 24, abolition of child labor, absolute right. Nobody can come and tell, I know president, I know vice president, can I go for child labor? No. Even president of India cannot practice child labor, absolute right. Remaining all fundamental rights are subjected to reasonable restrictions and exemption. Same logic applies here. Now they are asking a question like as if how to have the element relating to the issue on withdrawal, the power, what the states are doing is not absolute in nature. Just like that blindly they cannot do. So in that area, what are the chances available? For that, the first answer is Constitutional Court. If it is giving a permission, then they can do investigation. So I am very specific on this area. So Constitutional Court, Supreme Court of India, they are the person to interpret the constitution, but now unfortunately they are being asked to do every work. So the main work is getting deviated. Anyhow, Constitutional Court is having the element of power to give the authority to CBI. Come on, go and check it. No, the state didn't permit. No problem. Go and show us our order. Then we will decide who is powerful. So state or the Supreme Court. And definitely nobody will have a right to oppose Supreme Court. All right, they will give the permission. So permission will be as such granted. Number 2, the Constitutional Court, what we are deciding, it should be based on before commencement of the problem. You cannot as such do things just like that. Before you start an issue, that needs to be as such informed and identified. After that only we can proceed forward for the area relating to the investigation. After going to a state, we can't ask court to give permission. Before going there, permission can be obtained. Number 2, we have something called as continuing the investigation. Some issues is going on and we are continuing the task. So that area needs only CBI's entry, not state permission. Number 3, most importantly, when the matter is a pending investigation. Rajiv Gandhi murder case, CBI only filed charge sheet. You should know that. So in the month of like 2019-91, when this person came here, when he was being subjected to a human bomb blast. Rajiv Gandhi went into pieces. So he came for election campaign to Tamil Nadu, and here unfortunately Prime Minister died because of the human bomb. So in that area, as the person is a former Prime Minister, Tamil Nadu government didn't file the FIR. CBI was given the power to file the FIR. Now investigation is going on. Even now investigation is going on. Though the convicts got released very recently, till this time investigation was happening one by one. They were asking the question like how to proceed in this area, how to have the element of investigation. All these inputs were being as such taught. So in this topic, when the issue relating to CBI comes into picture, always remember the question of absolute nature nowhere applies to the state. State can never claim any amount of absolute nature, and they are being denied the permission. So sometimes your absolute power, what you think, is not there. CBI is having the power to come in these areas. When they get a constitutional court permission, when some investigation is continuing from last year to current year, or when there is a pending case for many number of years, investigation in that demands huge amount of witness one by one. At that point of time, then in this area, the CBI will be having the power to go for all these investigations, even when the consent is getting denied. When consent is not being given, when they are not giving the permission, then there is no need to get it. You can go and proceed. Sir, suppose then if CBI is being arrested by police, what will happen? Then the state has to face the heat of center. Even they can go for, Article 356, imposing president rule in that area. So in this topic, whenever there is an issue pertaining to the matters on constitution, be very specific on that topic. Do not have any ambiguity. Let that area be precise and clear with respect to the question. Now, in this next topic, fresh cases in federal matters cannot be inquired. So, if it is a new case, if it is a matter on federal issue, center, state and all, then that cannot be subjected to any amount of inquiry without state giving the permission. You see, earlier I told when possibilities are there, and now I am telling where possibilities are not there. So here and all, they cannot proceed to just have the element of investigation without fulfilling the due procedures as such. And then many states have withdrawn the consent due to irritational factors. Sir, what are those things? See, the very a key word which I just want to show here is the irritational factors. Okay. So, what are the irritational factors in this area, right? So, the small spelling mistake, IRR, right? TATIONAL, right? Irritational factors. What are the irritational factors we are having? Generally, there is a presumption that CBI is considered to be a caged parrot. CBI is subjected to caged parrot. So what do you mean by that? CBI is not having any amount of liberty. They are being controlled. When they are being controlled, we do not have any amount of right on them. So they just work based on someone's dictation. And many a time we have this apprehension that CBI is considered to be a puppet in the hands of central government. When central government is having all these things to control, we have a doubt why we have to maintain the relationship with the CBI. Why we should give them a complete white paper. If you give white paper to someone, they can write anything they want to know. Better don't give them the paper. Then how they will write something? They can't. That is how they have stopped these things. Couple of days ago in Tamil Nadu, the CBI general consent was withdrawn. More than 16 states have withdrawn the CBI consent. They are saying no, permission will not be given to you. A question comes, why are you not giving permission? No, you ask us. You ask whether we can come and investigate. Then we will tell whether to give or not to give. And number two, Constitutional Court also will not just like that blindly give the permission. They will check really whether there is a need or not. If need is not there, then they will definitely stop this. They will not as such give permission and all whenever the CBI comes and files a case in the court. So if it is truly genuine, they will give. Otherwise, they will reject it. In this perspective, states are not willing to give the consent because of this factor. Do highlight on this point, very important, because this point is the major area relating to the aspect of question. What the question is demanding, this point is only talking. So this point you please highlight it. And then next line. Federalism in case of India is a part of basic structure. We can't as such avoid it. So federalism definitely have a good amount of values. When federalism is there, when it is considered to be a part of basic structure, just like that we can't stop it. States are having a right to do things what they want. Likewise, center is also having a right. In these two domains, one of the finest quality what we get here is that this particular federalism is getting disrupted when the center is using the CBI for their personal gain. Whenever CBI is being used for personal gain, this particular concept of happiness what states were having is getting disrupted. Therefore, whenever a threat is happening to the element of basic structure concept, then by default consent will get withdrawn only. They will not as such give the consent, they will withdraw it only because there is no other alternative as such being made available. So in this topic, please be very specific that we cannot blindly give the element of consensus. Entry 80 of the union list is very important, because entry 80 of union list decides about the aspect of investigation and the powers given to the CBI. And here the state law and order and police, as it does not come under the union list, just like that blindly interfering in the affairs of state is nowhere permissible in the eyes of law. And now what suggestions we can give? Always speaking, those who are giving suggestions know they are being given a royal salute in the exam. When you give a suggestion, they feel elite. Come on, this boy is not only talking about the problem, he is also giving some input. No, come on, let us see what input he is giving. So inputs are always given a recognition in this area. Be very strong in that topic. Now what is the way forward? First thing, CBI must ensure that impartial investigation is being performed. CBI should have impartial investigation. Sir, what do you mean by that? Impartial investigation. Investigation should not have any amount of fear or favor. Fearing for someone and doing favor for someone. If this is there, then democracy will die. Democracy will not have any option. Therefore, best solution where the consent will be given every time by all the states in India is that we need to have impartial investigation by this agency called as CBI. This was established only to ensure that they are premier investigating agency. They are above everything and they will not bend down for anyone. This is what they said initially. But after some point of time, when there is some amount of irritation, when functions are not happening properly, then we have a great doubt whether CBI definitely needs its presence or not. So after great amount of doubt and dilemma, we come to a grand conclusion that yes, CBI needs a good amount of impartial investigation. So their motto, if you see, they will say integrity, industry, impartial, everything. But whether they are truly following will decide when consent will be given by the state. Next point you can give suggestion as CBI functions shall be decoded. Murder investigation not more than 9 months. Graft corruption investigations not more than 5 months. Let us decide the functions and let us speak in which method the investigation will be happening. Because functions investigations, if it is not uniform, if it is differing from person to person, when there is no amount of clarity on this, then by default we will have a great trouble. So in this topic, always understand the issue pertaining to CBI can be handled in a most progressive manner on and only when the issue is being handled in a transparent mechanism. Without transparency, we do not have any amount of possibility of CBI getting celebrated. So CBI, if you want, should be a premier investigating agency, do this. At last, withdrawing the general consent is against democracy and shall not be permitted. When somebody wants to come and investigate, you say, come on, don't come to me. Don't come and have any investigation. This statement what you are making is absolutely wrong. Because what you are saying is highly against democracy. In democracy, the government is having a right to check on people who are not proper. So improper people are being cross-verified. For that, we cannot as such stop them, as it will create a huge amount of irritation. Right? So with that, we will see question number 12. This question is again interesting question because of recent current happenings, what we witness in newspapers as such. So what this question is, explain the constitutional provision under which legislative councils are established. Review the working and current status of legislative councils with suitable illustration. Right. So constitutional provision with respect to legislative councils. In this area, we need to understand that the aspect of constitutional provision is all about the upper chamber, the house, what states are having. For a kind information, there are the differences where the state legislature in case of India is getting divided into two categories. So what are the categories in general? One is that they will be having something called as unicameralism and other will be having bicameralism. Unicameral, bicameral. The word uni means one, the word bicameral means two. Uni and bicameral. For example, let us take, there are states in India where they follow only unicameralism like Tamil Nadu. If you go to states in case of North Uttar Pradesh or in case of South Karnataka, they are having something called as bicameralism. That means they will be having two houses. One will be called as State Legislative Assembly, other will be called as State Legislative Council. These are the two things as such available. When legislative assembly and legislative council is there, that will decide the aspect of unicameralism or bicameralism. Now two houses are there, so we know pretty well it is coming under the aspect of bicameralism. When only one house is there, it will be called as unicameralism. This input is crystal clear. Now question what they are demanding. First is that they are asking, explain the constitutional provision under which the legislative councils are established. And now they are asking to review the working and current status of legislative councils with suitable example. That's all. This is what question demands. So now we know the keywords. When keywords are there, I told you in the first class, answer will not get deviated. If keywords are not there, you read once, twice, thrice, again you start writing the answer. If you struck or if you have any amount of hindrance here and there, no, proceeding further will become a Herculean task as such. You may not have the comfort to move forward. Therefore, to avoid that, better we can follow this simple strategy to write the answer. Now we are precisely clear on these inputs as such. How to proceed and give the answer? Let's check it one by one. In this area, they are talking about the aspect of legislative council. So state legislature, first thing write about that. So state legislatures are organs like parliament in the center, wherein which in the states they are subjected to the lawmaking bodies. It can be divided into two, unicameral, bicameral. Unicameral state legislatures will have only one house called as State Legislative Assembly. Bicameral state legislatures will have two houses, State Legislative Assembly, Legislative Council. What we discussed in the previous slide, I am just giving you as an answer. We will write that in the initial line because we need to talk about what this particular state legislature in general. Only when we talk on this, our answer will become finite answer. Sir, suppose if you are not giving this answer, your answer may not get good amount of mark. So be specific in this area. Number 2, how they are being created and how the issue is happened. Very simply speaking, state legislature, that single house, what is there, they will pass a resolution. Resolution will demand that yes, we need a state legislative council. This will be the demand made by them. Once they make this demand, they will pass it. They will use something called as special majority to pass this resolution. Resolution passed. Now they are having the element of special majority. All of them have given the consensus. So the majority of all members and 2/3 of the total members present and voting. Now that strength we have as such obtained. Now the same will go to Parliament. Parliament will do it in simple majority. Very easy. Simple majority. So once these two issues are comfortable, once these two issues are getting over, then the state legislative councils can be established. You see how simple the answer is. Polity, they will ask very tough question, too tough to imagine. No, very simple questions. Only conceptual understanding matters. If an aspirant has prepared for prelims of Indian polity very comfortably, without having any amount of like doubts and all, he will get the finest mark for sure. He will never have doubt. He will do the best and he will get the highest mark also for sure. That much of guarantee I can tell you for a candidate from that perspective. In this area, how to proceed for the aspect of the state legislature and how to give the answers. So state legislature per se is based on this input. Number 2, Article 169, simple and the power, simple majority for the Parliament and special for the state is required. So first introduction part over. So what is state legislature we spoke, and we spoke about the constitutional provision also, because that is what question is asking. Explain the constitutional provision under which it is getting established. So here we cannot leave the answer empty. See, sometimes some answers what you find no need some proper grounding to establish that you have given the right answer. For instance, they have mentioned that maybe in the polity prelims class you have seen about money bills cannot be introduced in Rajya Sabha. Money bills cannot be introduced in Rajya Sabha. So where we can do it? We can do it only in this perspective. When this input is being demanded, then they have made a provision in such a way that each thing what we discuss is having some backing. If you know those backings and give the answer, your answer will get appreciated. Otherwise, your answer will not be getting the mark. Therefore, only I am saying then and there by heart the article. See, those who are writing mains, for them time is limited. So less than 100 days are there. So we can do only limited amount of article. Those who are going to give prelims in the month of May 26, 2024, for those people, you have a good amount of time. You do not have any amount of limitation. You have a great amount of time at your disposal. At this point of time, try to by heart 2 articles per day. Just 2 articles. See, within a matter of 200 days, you will master all the articles. And number 2, in this area, articles wherever I am saying no in the mains, you write the article and write the answer, then see the impact. You will get a wonderful amount of mark in the exam, right? Now we'll move on to the main part of the question. Why legislative council is required? The question is asked in this area. Why we need a legislative council? First thing is that in case of legislative assembly, if you want to become a member, you need to get the qualification that you are an MLA. Every state has MLA, member of legislative assembly. Anybody who wants to become an MLA needs to fulfill the qualification. Just like that, without getting the vote from public, we cannot make any amount of winning. And we have seen in the history, many prime ministers have become prime minister only by becoming Rajya Sabha member. They haven't become Lok Sabha member. By becoming Rajya Sabha member, they were able to become Prime Minister. So it is giving opportunity for everyone. I am not a popular figure, but I can give you the best policy for the entire state. Can I become Chief Minister? Yes. Just to become Legislative Council member, then you will become eligible to hold the post of Chief Minister. So becoming Chief Minister in case of India is possible in a particular state by having Legislative Council. On the other hand, Sir, legislative council is not there, but we are deeply involved and interested to have the element of becoming a chief minister for a person. But people do not know. Even when we feel this candidate in the election, he will not win it. What are the chances available? If that is the question raised, then we need to be ultra cautious to give the answer that legislative councils are the best platform available to proceed for this area. The moment you give that, that gives a grand amount of success. First thing is that opportunity for all. People from various background, those who are experts in their domain, maybe arts, science, or any particular sport, whatever it is, if they have the instinct to give the best service to the people, without covering all the procedures relating to the aspect of elections and all, then we can definitely ensure that legislative councils will be the best platform available. Because straight away winning election and winning the heart of public without greasing their palms is a very tough task. We can't do it. But when we go by this method, we have a bright option available. Number 2, ensures sound policy by legislative council. You see the term what I'm using, sound policy. So if you bring any policy, when you know legislative council is there to check it, the legislative assembly members will be very strong by telling that don't make any frivolous statements and all. Council will stop it. Therefore, let us be cautious. The level of cautiousness will get increased the moment legislative council is there. It is otherwise called as second house, elders house and all, upper chamber. When somebody is watching us from the top, we have a fear to do some mistake. No, same thing applies in this area. Number 3, no decision in haste. Sir, what do you mean by the word haste? Doing something urgently and sometimes even without non-application of the mind. Then only let us assume legislative assembly is there. Legislative council is not there, only assembly is there. When legislative assembly is there, legislative council is not there, then we have a great amount of chance that when only one house is there, they might misuse the law. They might do things out of urgency. When they are doing things out of urgency, and there are great amount of chances that they can make mistakes also. When mistakes can be possible, when these things are subjected to difficulty, we need to be ultra cautious. So when legislative council is there, people cannot make decisions in haste. So they cannot just like that run and make a great amount of mistakes. And this option legislative council will ensure. And then last vital point is that experts are invited to come and become a member of this particular legislative council. And this will give us the window where topics unknown to the elected members, the MLAs, MLCs will tell. MLC means member of legislative council. They will come and tell. When these people are giving the input, obviously it will be the grand success to have a legislative council. But issues, everything is having a cost. Am I right? Suppose for example, you are a leader in the class. You are the representative, not official class leader, because he will be the most piteous soul, just a leader as such. He is making some grievances about some person, some teaching person or somebody for that matter. He is just mobilizing all the students and he is going and meeting the head of that particular school or the college. He is giving all recommendations. He is talking about, come on, this problem we are facing, that is the issue. All these things he is sharing. Suppose after sharing these things, if at all there is any amount of information getting leaked, then he needs to bear the cost of it. The irritation of the teacher or the irritation of the head of the department or anything as such, because we don't know what he is coming and giving as a complaint. Whatever he complains, that will be subjected to a great amount of scrutiny. So he has to pay the cost also. Likewise, when I speak on these advantages, 1, 2, 3, 4, that is having some consequences also. No? Just like that, we can't speak only on the aspects of profit, right? So in this area, first topic which we need to understand is too much of expenses. Sir, how many MLCs we build there, sir? Suppose if you are having, let's say, 400 MLAs in a state, MLC strength will not go more than 1 by third of it. Roughly speaking, we can give a number of 133. 133 members will be in member of legislative council, not more than that. But Mizoram, Meghalaya, northeastern state and all, this limitation that 1 by third is getting reduced for them because they are having number of MLAs less than 30 and 40 as such. So one third means 133. Imagine for all 133 members, we have to give MLCs members, we have to give them salary, we have to take care of their accommodation, food, travel costs, everything. So first point is that it is too much of costly as such to have the second chamber. So that point we need to keep in mind. Number two, recommendations given by this particular legislative council is not binding as such. A simplest example, I will speak from money bill point of view. Money bill is being sent by legislative assembly to legislative council because only in assembly the bill will initiate. It is going to the council. Council, if it is giving some 100 recommendations on the money bill, avoid this, avoid this, avoid this, they are giving 100 input to them. At last, after giving all 100 input, legislative assembly will say all 100 inputs given by the legislative council we are not willing to take. See, when this is there, then there is no amount of chance available. So this again creates a great amount of issue. And third point, very serious point, is that if any state is creating any amount of like a ruckus here and there, then legislative council can be abolished. Simple majority, when parliament wants, they will do the task of finishing the entire chapter for legislative council. So where is the independence? Anytime I have to bow down to what center says. Whatever center is saying, if I am doing only that, it is not something good, no. So that also needs to be addressed correctly. In this area, there is a great possibility that the parliament may misuse the element of power given to them. And then most important issue is that the legislative councils, whenever we have, there is an issue of procrastination. Procrastination, we all know, and we also would have done that in our life to a large extent. Procrastination means postponing the content. We will do it later, not today, not today, we will see tomorrow. The tomorrow never comes, am I right? Tomorrow is something which will never come. And when people postpone things without having any amount of application of mind, then that is again a big problem because of legislative council. So this issue is all about the topic on legislative council. Just 1 minute, I'll revert back. Right, so we can just continue the next question. So The question is all about pressure groups, because this is one topic which people ignore and they start telling that come on, this is of no use. But many a time UPSC comes with a big surprise of 25 mark worth of question. 10 mark question 1, 15 mark question 1, 25 marks also comes from this area. Therefore be specific on this topic, read something from this area and go to the exam. This is again a very core topic from examination point of view. So pressure groups are playing a vital role. So now they themselves are giving the statement that a very important role is being played by pressure group in terms of influencing the public policy making in case of India. Explain how business associations contribute to public policy. Right. Questions is getting divided based on two premises. So we need to understand how the pressure group is working and how the business associations are contributing for the aspect of public policies. If you know these two things, then we are done for the day. With this input, let's see how to proceed for the answer writing. So what is pressure group? So simply speaking, we need to understand this particular term clearly to proceed for the answer. So pressure groups are those bodies which do not want to take part in the election, but they just work on behalf of an entire en masse section. So they'll create pressure to the government to perform something which government in general will not do on their own. What they will not do on their own, they will be compelled to do as such, and that is where pressure group comes into picture. So we need to be very precise in this area relating to pressure group. So we have explained what is pressure group, that's it. After finishing this topic, jump into the next area of giving the answer, which is called as functions of pressure group. Because this particular pressure group is known for doing something which is really making them to give a red carpet welcome. So what are the things they are doing? That let us understand. First is that the important and pressing issues are getting highlighted by the pressure group. See, government will not know everything. Government may tend to skip some topics here and there. They may not have that much of time to cover each and every problem one by one. Therefore, for these issues only, we are having the aspects of pressure group coming and helping. So, pressure groups will tell that this is one issue which is urgently required as such. If you do this only, you can win next time, because many are demanding. Thousands, lakhs and lakhs of people are ready to come and protest if this is not happening. Therefore, give us an opportunity and try to listen to what we are saying, then implement the policy so that it will give grand success. You see, they are not coming and participating in the election. They do not do anything as such in terms of winning the election, contesting an election, making the people to get canvas. Nothing they are doing. But what they have achieved is they are able to make the government prepare a policy based on what these people say. That is why we use a term called as pressure group. They create some pressure on that. First important point is that they talk about important pressing issues as such which otherwise government will not know. And imagine if you are a prime minister and there are person to come and give you input regarding what is the people's demand in general, and you start working on that, definitely you will be the next prime minister also. Subsequent next, second time, third time also, people will give opportunity for you because you are knowing what is happening in the grassroots level. Pressure group only came and said all this information I am doing, that will not happen. They will work behind the curtains, but that will give success to your government. Therefore, pressure groups are required. Number 2, pressure groups are known to give specialized inputs to the government. They will give data. They will give facts. They will collect the information from public, and here this public information, what they are doing, will give great amount of success for them. So whenever the issue comes into picture, the information based issue will be supplied by pressure group. They will not just come and speak in air. They will come and give all input. You will feel very comfortable. With that only the provision will kickstart. And then public work, but no politics. So the political entry, demanding a political post, demanding the power, the thirst, hunger for power, all those things do not apply here. Then why are they working, sir? They are working for the welfare of common man. That's it. Somebody should be there as a front runner for the common man. All cannot come and do that. Therefore, that work is being taken care in this area. And we feel a great amount of proud factor that these issues are being highlighted to a large extent. So public work, and here there is no amount of political involvement. Number 4, you see this line, they are considered to be the voice of the voiceless. Such a great amount of role the pressure groups are doing. They will be coming and representing the voiceless. Voiceless people are very high in number. Those who can come and articulate what they want, what this demand, are very few in numbers. So they can't come and speak everything. For those people, pressure groups are really doing a great amount of task. At last, they are considered to be the liaising authority between the government vis-a-vis the public. These two peoples are always at loggerhead. Government will come and tell something which people will not like. What people are demanding, government will not like. That is where we need to understand. So, they used to say, sir, to achieve success in this exam, what I am supposed to do? Simply speaking, one line answer, what you don't like to do, if you do it, you will win in this exam. It's a very powerful statement. What you don't like to do it, if you do it, you will win in this exam. Sir, what is that? For example, if I say get up at morning 4:30 a.m. every day, many will say, come on, not possible, sir, that too in this climate, we feel too much of sleepy in the early morning, we go to bed late, we give all lame excuses. At last we say, 4:30 I cannot wake up. Or if I say that, come on, sit and prepare for 14 hours a day, you will say, no sir, I have back pain, L1, L2, L3, L4, all these issues. When I am saying to do something, when you feel that, no, this is not my comfort zone, I cannot do it, if you do that, no, you will be a winner. Be very precise on this point. Do not have ambiguity. Just think over it when the class is over. Now, business association. How they are helping? Sir, why are you talking about business association? Just see the question. Explain how the business associations contribute to public policies in India. A very simplest topic. How the business associations are giving the help for the aspect of public policy. Therefore, I am talking about the business associations in case of India. How they are helping us in a larger perspective. Number 1, sector-wise input to government. Aluminium sector, steel sector, coal, gas, natural gas, whatever it is. Segment-wise, sector-wise, whatever inputs are available, they will give the policy. For example, we are having great amount of uranium and we don't have great amount of thorium. So what we need to do, or how to go for installing many heavy water plant in case of India, how to go and establish nuclear power plants rather than what is existing, how to increase their number. If this type of question is being demanded, how we will give the answer? That particular answer, government need not worry, we will give the input to you. So first point is that business associations who are acting as the pressure group in turn start supplying the input sector wise, which is again a big successful formula. Number 2, R&D for specific industry. Any industry in turn which is demanding a separate research and development. So how to proceed for R&D? So this particular R&D they will do. Specific industry. Coal industry is dying in case of India. Textile industry is dying in case of India. How to preserve them? How to safeguard them? We have great amount of doubt. No, those doubts will get an answer. Whatever doubts you are having, that will get solved by way of a perfect R&D. This pressure groups will be doing in general. And then policy making is getting achieved also with the help of pressure group, which is a grand success in case of India. Policy making. Supreme Court cannot make a policy. Please understand. When many matters you go and ask them, no, they will say, come on, it is a policy matter. We can't interfere. But pressure groups are able to control the government. They are able to make the government give the answer according to the demand raised by these members. A good comfort is getting guaranteed. use different tools to share the awareness of schemes of government. Another important role of pressure group is that they use social media, they go and perform drama, exhibition, they come and create stalls across the length and breadth of the country, and with these things they are able to come and create a message relating to the aspects of the schemes prepared by the government. So whatever the government has done, those schemes are getting highlighted in this perspective. And then most important aspect is promoting foreign trade. That is again a vital area for our understanding. So foreign trade is getting promoted to a very large extent, which is again a celebrating impact in case of this pressure groups, because they are the one who are responsible for conveying the message, preparing the policy. When those are always in ease with the businessmen coming from outside India, our foreign trade is also getting strengthened and cemented to a large extent. And now we will see the last question, question number 14. What is this question? So question number 14 is very important because it is again based on Rajya Sabha. What they are saying, let's see. Rajya Sabha has been transformed from, you see this question, UPSC is using these terms, okay, useless stepney tire. This is the term what UPSC is saying, useless stepney tire. That was the old function of Rajya Sabha according to UPSC, right? Not according to me. So that is what Rajya Sabha is saying. Rajya Sabha got transformed from useless stepney tire to most useful supporting organ. Come on, what a term they are using, just to see. Most useful supporting organ in the past few decades. Highlight the factor and the areas in which this transformation could be visible. Answer is very simple. What they are asking, nowadays Rajya Sabha is also powerful. Gone are the old days where they said this is a chamber not required. This particular thing is no more subjected to any relevance here. Now we are having a great amount of comfort. Many areas are getting improvised. So if you think that this is a useless stepney tire, you are wrong, because now it has become a very important and powerful tool to a large extent. How to proceed for answer in this area? Let us discuss in a very brief manner. First thing, Rajya Sabha and its importance. So generally speaking, Rajya Sabha, this second body, came into existence. So Montego Chelmsford Committee's recommendations in 1918 and 1919 Government of India Act, these were the genesis or the place from where the birth of this second chamber took place. Second chamber as such is emerging only to ensure that the parliament is subjected to a good amount of healthy debates and discussion. If second chamber is not there, only one house is there, there are great amount of possibilities that somewhere decisions might be taken in a wrong manner. Therefore, Rajya Sabha comes into picture. Number 2, the Constituent Assembly. See, in Constituent Assembly, I think there is great amount of doubt among the members. I just want to make this point very clear and simple. Many of them tell that the Dr. B.R. Ambedkar is the person responsible for the Constitution of India. But there is one person called as B.N. Rao. I think you are aware of that, the advisor to Constituent Assembly. As a matter of fact, you should know more than 270 articles what we are using in the Constitution of India right now was given by B.N. Rao. The remaining rest of articles was alone given by B.R. Ambedkar. They were inserting the task. So sometimes some heroes are unsung, right? So in this area, B.N. Rao is a great person in the Constituent Assembly who has given great amount of insights. Just as a factual data, remember that. Somewhere it can be useful in your examination. Now, Constituent Assembly, they have openly declared why we need a second chamber. For that, they have said only when second chamber is there, we can just have a great amount of control to check the decisions which are taken in haste. Hasty decisions of the government, if I need to control, then I need a second chamber. Otherwise, they will do things in urgency. They will not wait for others. When they are doing things in a very urgent manner, it might have some problem also. Therefore, to curtail those things, this issue is getting celebrated. One more thing, we need to tell the issue so that the issue is happening in a comfortable manner to have the second chamber. They can't just like that go for second chamber and tell that come on you do these functions randomly whatever you want. No, they are very specific. They are telling what you can do, what you cannot do. Now, why we need to have the Rajya Sabha, the second chamber, a very important area, why we need to have it. Only when Rajya Sabha is there, it will facilitate certain advantages which otherwise Lok Sabha cannot get. I am very specific in my point. Only when there is a Rajya Sabha, it can facilitate certain advantages which Lok Sabha cannot do it. For instance, we have the members coming from states who are getting nominated for this Rajya Sabha. And you know, this Rajya Sabha is considered to be a permanent house. Even when Lok Sabha is getting dissolved, Rajya Sabha won't dissolve. It is a permanent chamber and members will be having a tenure of 6 years, not like this MPs who are having 5-year tenure. 6 years they will be subjected to their tenure. And many states have given experts in certain field to become MPs of Rajya Sabha. When there is a great amount of expertise available, that expertise is getting a seat in the Rajya Sabha. Therefore, we are able to get an array of discussion which even Lok Sabha cannot do. What Lok Sabha cannot do, they are able to do it. Why? Just because of Rajya Sabha having the nomination, not only the nominated members, even other than that also, there are so many experts in Rajya Sabha which is giving them wide opportunity to discuss the matters of national urgent importance. Lok Sabha may ignore, but here there is a possibility. The state is getting a voice in the element of Rajya Sabha, where this platform is really awesome. The platform what a state is getting is really awesome. And here it is a great amount of comfort also. See, we cannot as such, undermine Rajya Sabha. When state needs to come and tell something, and the views of the state, Rajya Sabha is a place to decide all those things. And here, as each state is having their own representation, it is truly expressing the spirit of entire nation. Then, unique powers of Rajya Sabha. Till today, how it is able to have a higher amount of value, unique powers are given to the Rajya Sabha as such. How they are being subjected to a great amount of celebration. Two things are there. Number one, All India Service. Number two, state list items. So what is All India Service and what do you mean by state list items? Sometimes this issue comes into the minds of aspirants as a doubt. How we are having the issue pertaining to this Rajya Sabha celebrating certain great amount of power. So Rajya Sabha as such is able to make good amount of success because of these two unique things. Number one, creating All India Service. If they want to insert a new amount of provision, a new provision is required, that can be initiated only by Rajya Sabha, not by others. If you want to make a law in state list, sir, state list law, how Rajya Sabha will make? Only state government will make, no? State legislature, yes. But when Rajya Sabha is initiating a proposal, they are able to do that. And even recently, Constitution Amendment Bill, 67th Amendment Act, which gave the extension of, like president rule for 4 years in Punjab, and 81st Act, which says when certain caste seat is, remaining vacant, next year you can carry forward those things, were all subjected to initiation from Rajya Sabha. And this Rajya Sabha will avoid the aspect of unicameral control of Lok Sabha. If there is no Rajya Sabha, then Lok Sabha will become unicameral and they will start creating an high-handedness. And Rajya Sabha per se is a classical example of cooperative federalism, wherein which states and center work hand in hand. And this body remains permanent. I told you already, this will not be a temporary body. How to give the conclusion? Recently speaking, for abrogation of Article 370, special status given to Jammu and Kashmir, Rajya Sabha role was vital. They gave good amount of support to do this. But for Rajya Sabha, this abrogation is not possible. Number two, melting pot of cultural diversity. Various members from various states come and as such assemble here, which in turn is promoting a cultural diversity inside the house of Rajya Sabha. And this Rajya Sabha is one of the prime reason responsible for ensuring the aspects of healthy bicameralism and accountability among the members. And these advantages are really awesome, and this advantages makes Rajya Sabha really a powerful body to a large extent, right? So these are the inputs pertaining to this area. Remaining things we will see in the upcoming sessions as such, right? So thank you, and we'll meet in the next session relating to various questions on polity from UPSC's demand, and we'll try to solve the answers and give you a skeleton of how to go for the answer writing. Thank you.